It's just a massive kick in the teeth. Like, you want people to help you and support you, and when someone's saying, oh, but you look okay, it's like, well, yeah, someone who's got anxiety, depression looks okay, but they're not okay.
No one would choose to be like this. I'd much rather be how I used to be.
There are still elements where people will say this is not really a condition.
Imagine waking up every single morning in constant, debilitating pain, fatigued and struggling to do simple things like riding a bike or even singing. Now imagine all of this was going on, but you look completely fine on the outside, just like every other person. And because of this, no one believed that you were suffering. This is what life is like for Amy Day and Isabel Book, who suffer from the chronic pain conditions fibromyalgia and complex regional pain syndrome respectively. Fibromyalgia is a long-term condition that causes widespread pain all across the body. Sufferers can also experience extreme fatigue, muscle stiffness, problems with thinking clearly and other symptoms. CRPS differs from fibromyalgia in that although the pain is still constant and life-limiting, it is just confined to one area or limb. Affected areas can become swollen, stiff, or undergo changes in colour or temperature.
Fibromyalgia pain can be really different. So in my hands they feel really stiff and sore and swollen, like the muscles are swollen up. But in my shoulders I get a feeling as if I've got like fire ants under my skin or something. It's a real kind of almost electrical pain. My hips when I'm walking feel like they've got tiny sharp knives in them.
All my pain is in my legs and my back. So I get burning pain in the soles of my feet, and then a lot of heaviness in my legs, and then in terms of my back it's like a sharp stabbing pain in my coccyx.
To help ease her symptoms, Izzy travels to a hydrotherapy pool in Frome on a weekly basis.
The pool's about 35 degrees, so it's like swimming in a bath basically. It's good for me to be walking in the pool to sort of build my walking strength up. And I basically go there to do like stretches, exercises, just to sort of keep my body as fit as possible with the least effort on my body.
Alongside the frustration that comes from being misunderstood, I went to London to talk to Richmond Stace, a pain physiotherapist, about the lack of clear diagnostic criteria surrounding these conditions.
The Budapest criteria we come up with a few years ago, and it includes sensory signs and symptoms and other things like swelling and appearance changes. And actually one of the problems with CRPS is a lot of people haven't heard of it, and that includes clinicians and in healthcare. So it can be missed. And the early identification is important for treatment.
In March 2017 I had a fall on a staircase. My feet basically gave way and I landed on my coccyx. So yeah, I've had CRPS symptoms for a year now, but I was only diagnosed in August, so it took quite a while to get diagnosed.
Despite having these conditions, both Amy and Izzy have hobbies that they are very passionate about, but they take a lot out of them.
Singing with the choir is really good for me because, one, it gets me out of the house and I've got a lot of friends there, so I'm getting a lot of social support, which is lovely. It stops me from being isolated at home, and also the blend of sounds is really therapeutic and it really uplifts me. It's just really good for the soul, and with that feeling of not being in society, at least I'm part of something with other people.
So next year I'm cycling from London to Paris on a tandem with my boyfriend Ben. So every year since I was 9 I've done a fundraising event on my bike. When I had my CRPS diagnosis and my back problems, it was almost like I had to put that on hold for a bit to look after myself. But it got to a point earlier this year where I was like, I need something to focus on, like I need a goal. It's just really good for me because it forces me to go out and be active and get on the bike and do some training, and it sort of gives me and Ben the freedom back that we've lost as well, because our sort of problem with my diagnosis was before my accident we were very active together.
So even as I was interviewing these women, it was really hard for me to sympathise and understand the amount of pain that they were in, because they did just look like normal people on the outside. But even when they were doing their hobbies, it was plain to see. Amy was constantly sat down, she was yawning, she was rubbing her legs while everyone else was standing up. I saw the impacts of their conditions firsthand, but I really wanted to know what it was like to not be believed.
I feel a lot of the time quite ashamed of my condition when people ask me what's wrong with you and I have to say, oh, I have fibromyalgia. I feel like there's this sense they're immediately rolling their eyes and going, oh, she's one of those, you know, fake people who don't really have anything wrong with them. But I think no one would choose to be like this. I'd much rather be how I used to be, you know, with energy, happy, healthy, with money. I don't think anyone would choose this. You'd have to be crazy to pretend to have this illness.
So there is no absolute clear classification for it. A rheumatologist may diagnose by pressing certain points across the body. The issue you've got is that you can have those points as being tender and not have fibromyalgia. So for example, if I got 10 people off the street and went around poking them hard enough, a lot of people go, oh yeah, that hurts. So for example, across the shoulders, often people are tense here. And if you press there hard enough, it will hurt, or in the base of the skull. I
went to the doctors and, I said, I'm struggling with my mental health. And he said, oh, have you tried exercise? And you need that serotonin boost. I said, well, I can't exercise, like it hurts. And he turns around and goes, well, can't you just push through the pain? And for that to me, it was like you really don't understand this condition, like you don't know what makes it worse. And he was a GP, like I expected him to be able to help.
People find it very distressing not to be validated, not to be believed. And actually, if they do experience that kind of message or that kind of attitude, then it really demonstrates how that other person doesn't truly understand pain.
Due to many cases being undiagnosed or even misdiagnosed, it's difficult to know just how prevalent these conditions are in society. But even without a medical diagnosis, the stigma surrounding invisible disabilities still remains. So next time you see someone that you wouldn't stereotypically see parking in a disabled space or using a walking stick, stop to consider what they're going through that you might not be able to see.